Welcome guys to a brand new video on Black Clover Mobile. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is talking about the next character that everyone needs to be saving for. Now, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. After Julius has been released, there's literally not that many characters you need to summon for, so essentially you just keep saving your resources until this character that I'm going to talk about is actually released. So like I mentioned, when Black Clover Mobile came out, a lot of us were just talking about the two main characters that you absolutely need to go ahead and get, being the swimsuit version of Noelle being having great barrier plus the great AoE damage, and then we also talked about the Julius Nova Kronos just simply does insane amount of damage, insane DPS in PvP and PvP content. Those were the two characters a lot of us were focusing on, and obviously both of those characters have been released in the game. So I've seen a lot of discussions, a lot of people just wondering who is the next character we need to talk about, who is the next character that everyone needs to save. Now I'm not going to make, well, I probably will make a video in the future going over all the I've actually made a video going over all the seasonal characters that you need to prioritize, but honestly with all these future seasonal characters, there isn't a reason to really summon on the banner, because the best one you can obtain from the Gateway of Reunion. Now, I'm not going to say the other seasonal characters are not that great. They are good, but are really like situational characters and essentially are not really a must-have for free-to-play players. So honestly, you could just not summon at all. And for Season 4, Season 3, Season 5, Season 6, just go over to the Gateway of Reunion and just claim the character that's just overall better. Now, I've already made a video, like I said, going over all the best seasonal characters you need to go ahead and get. So go ahead and check it out. I hopefully should link it in the description as well as in the comment section. But yeah, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the next character you need to summon for, and that character is Fauna Hateful or Hatred Fauna. Now, if you guys want to see more content on Black Clover Mobile, you don't want to miss out on future content on the game, make sure you are subscribed and make sure that post notification is on. Like I mentioned, I have released a bunch of videos that are very helpful for every free-to-play player. So to make sure that you guys just don't miss out on that, then make sure that bell icon is clicked. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then go ahead and click the like button. So before we talk about Fauna Hateful, there's one thing we need to know. Like, future banners that are coming out in terms of characters, there is no other character besides Fauna Hateful that you really need to summon for. Like, there is top tier characters, but not ones that are must have. Even the Black Asta that a lot of people might want to summon for is technically not a must have character. He's a great character, absolutely top 10 PvE and PvP, but compared to like Noelle and Julius, he kind of falls off a little bit compared to them. He does do great damage, but with characters like Noelle and Julius, the reason why they were primarily known and talked about was because they were just universally great. No special requirements for them, except like with Julius, you definitely need to max him out. But like with Noelle, just needed one copy. And with Fauna Hateful, she is technically the same as well. You just essentially just need to get one copy of Fauna, and obviously you can dupe her up if you want to, but essentially Fauna is just the next character that you want to save resources for. And honestly, it's going to be better for your account, because I think once everyone has summoned on Julius, you might not have enough resources to summon for the next character. Now, I can't lie, I don't know where we're going to be getting a lot of the summoning resources to summon for the next characters, besides obviously completing our dailies, our weekly and monthlies, because I don't really see a great way of great source of income except the arena. So hopefully they release more events in this game with better coupon codes as well to give us extra summons as well. So let's go ahead and talk about Fauna Hateful. Now, we do have one original copy of Fauna in the game, which is the blue version. Now, Fauna Hateful is the green version, the sense category or the sense type unit. Now, she is a sense type, so with Raya, who is one of the best DPS character for the green typing, Fauna is also going to be on the same tier as Raya for that great damage that she can provide. Now, compared to Raya, Fauna is an AoE DPS like goddess, honestly, insane amount of damage. With Raya, he is primarily just a huge insane DPS for one enemy, so only one single target character. But with Fauna, that insane AoE potential is absolutely nutty. Now, to talk about Raya, I'm going to be going over to this blue version of Fauna. To talk about the green version of Fauna, I'm going to be going over to this blue version of Fauna just so you could know who I'm really talking about. But the green version of Fauna is just simply better than this version over here. Okay, so to go over the skills for Fauna, she's basically an AoE queen. So Her skill 1 is single target, but her skill 2 is AoE. Her special skill is also AoE, and her combination attack is single target. Now with Fauna, you just have to ignore the combination attack. The only two skills you really need to focus on with Fauna, the green version, is the skill 2 and the ultimate, or a special skill. The special skill comes first in my opinion, because the amount of damage you can deal in there, deal from that is actually insane. Now if you think about PvE and PvP, why is she going to be good in PvP? Well, essentially her special skill has the ability to dispel barrier. Now I previously mentioned this in my previous video, but barrier becomes insanely meta in PvP. Like barrier characters are insanely meta. Now in the future, there's going to be a bunch of future characters we get, seasonal characters that provide you guys with barriers that basically makes your characters tanky, because barriers stack. So if you have two characters in your team that stacks barrier, that is essentially absolutely nutty in PvP. Makes it harder to nuke and whatnot. But with Fauna, Hateful, with her ultimate ability or special ability, she has the ability to actually dispel barrier and has the ability to deal even more damage from that as well. So let's quickly go over her skills. So her skill 1 basically applies 1 instance of hatred to herself. Now Fauna is a character that you essentially just want to keep stacking hatred. So once you stack a lot of hatred onto herself, that is when the bulk of her damage comes from. Now, unlike other characters where you enter a stage and then you immediately, immediately go ahead and use the special skill, Fauna is not like that. You go into the stage and you have to stack the hatred and then use her special skill to fully get a huge DPS from that. I'm only going into this stage, sorry, because I want to change the settings for the animation so that you guys can actually see a bunch of animations from the regular Fauna we have in game. But the green version of Fauna does have better animations in my opinion. Let me just take this off. So we're going to play full animations and then we're going to leave. So skill 1 applies 1 instance of hatred to self. When using a special skill, performs an extra attack that deals increased damage based on the number of hatred stacks up to 5 times. So you use a skill 1 probably, and that gives you 1 instance of hatred. Now another part of skill 1 is attacks after granting a 35% increased damage dealt buff if an enemy has an active taunt. So to any tanks in the game that has a taunt ability, so Mars, she has the ability to just deal in increased damage towards that unit. So yeah, if you go over to her skill 2, it's an AoE ability like I previously mentioned, and applies 2 instances of hatred to herself and also inflicts burn to an enemy, dealing continuous damage for 2 turns. The only thing you really want to focus on here is the damage is actually pretty good from this skill 2, and also applies 2 instances of hatred as well. Now going over to her special skill, inflicts barrier removal on a random ally. Now this is AoE, so I'm not really too sure if it says a random ally. Can't you just do it to everyone? I don't know. Is this like a guaranteed removal of barrier to everyone or just to one ally? It just doesn't really specify. But I'm just going to assume it's every ally. So essentially remove every barrier. If hatred isn't present on self, performs an extra attack that deals only 30% attack and magical attack. Like I mentioned before, you don't want that to be it. You want to stack hatred, because only 30% increase extra attack with 30% isn't good, because if you only have 1 instance of hatred, you actually deal 50% of attack and magical attack as damage for your extra attack. So if hatred is present on self, performs an extra attack to deal damage based on the instance of hatred. So 1 instance of hatred basically deals 50%, and with 5 instances of hatred, you deal 180% of attack and magical attack as damage. So you definitely want to make sure that hatred is on her. So you want to get at least 5 instances of hatred, but probably you guys will only be able to get 3 instances. So you use her skill 1, then you use her skill 2, so that's 3 instance of hatred on herself, and then you probably will proc the ultimate skill, which does insane amount of damage. Now a combination attack, you don't really bother with it, it's only taunting, but yeah, it just has the ability to taunt, which you don't really care for. Now if you go over to her passive, now I believe her level 2 passive, basically when you do her up 2 times, is if hatred stacks 5 times, max HP is set to 1% and grants self the immortality buff for 1 turn. at the end of a wave grants 50% of max HP as HP recovery. Now honestly, this basically makes it seem like you want to dupe up this character, because this is actually a very good passive. So honestly, I definitely will try to get as much copies as possible so that I can actually have this passive unlocked. So like I said, if you guys are saving resources, try to save as much as possible for Fauna. You don't really need to summon for any other character besides her. And then going over to the ultimate passive, unique passive, sorry, this is when you get her to LR. If all allies have the sense attribute, grant status element immunity to all allies for 1 turn. Now this is primarily useful in PvP content, because in PvP a lot of people are going to try and stack a lot of debuff on you. So having the status element immunity is great. Now technically you need to have all your allies be green types. So if you guys are thinking of a great team to run with Fauna, then I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys right now. So Fauna, Hateful, one of your characters. Now you could also have Langris. Langris is not currently in the game. It's another green type character that I don't think you need to summon for, but since you've gone for Fauna, who's also a green type, Langris, if you want to feel like a good team of green type characters, you could go ahead and summon for Langris, because Langris also has the ability to remove barriers as well, which is pretty good. But honestly, I don't think you need to summon for him. But you can use Fauna, you can use Langris, you can then use Mimosa, the season 1 version. Then you can also use Radius for that shield as well. However, you could just go with Fauna, Hateful, then Charlotte, the Ceremony, which is a season 6 Charlotte, who is absolutely insane, guys. This is a very top tier character you want to go for. And then you also have Radius you can go for, and then Mimosa. So you don't technically need to go for Langris in my opinion. So Fauna, Hateful, Charlotte's the season 6 version, Radius, and then Mimosa, the season 1 version. That is a top tier team you can run with this Fauna. So you don't even need to summon for any new characters, guys, with this team, because that season 6 Charlotte is the main one you need to go for season 6 character. So Gateway of Reunion is perfect way to get this character. So yeah, going back to Fauna, yeah, overall just a top tier DPS character. That's all she provides you guys. No debuffs, just great DPS damage. You definitely want to stack that hatred, and that is essentially it. So like I said, we do have this blue version of Fauna, which I do think is a top 10 character, one of the top 10 character in the game. But when the green version of Fauna comes out, that Fauna is actually insane and definitely a must-have in my opinion. So hopefully you guys like this video. Stay tuned for more content on Black Clover Mobile. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, stay tuned for more content. It's been your boy AC Gamer, and I'm out.